Hey, welcome back to the Steadfast Life podcast, or welcome if this is the first time you've ever been here. If that's the case, my name is Jake Rail, and I am half of the life coaching staff here at Steadfast Life Coaching. The other half is my wife, Whit, and we like to team up together to coach people. So we consider ourselves a coaching staff rather than just life coaches. And also, if you look at my business card, you'll see that it says, the world's only assistant Christian life coach. Because that's what I say that I do. And what we do with this podcast is we like to sort of pay attention throughout the week at the things that come up when we're talking to clients or the questions that people reach out to us and ask us to have addressed on this podcast. And this time it's going to be a little bit different because what happened was Whit and I were both looking at building our belief in our business. We have been through a little bit of a season of transition where Whit was pregnant, and so we kind of backed off the business, and then she took full-on maternity leave, and even I took a little bit of paternity leave, and we backed way off the business. And what ends up happening with a business like ours is that it can have a little lull in momentum coming out of something like that, just because we haven't been as relevant or out there speaking to our people. And so This time period has caused us to sort of question a little bit, to have a little bit of doubt about how big the vision is. And so this morning we were both praying about it. We both sort of took that to the Lord, and we got a similar revelation. And so I'm just going to share that revelation today because I think it is applicable to so many people who are going after big things, which if you're listening to this is probably you. So it comes down to this: surrender. Ultimately, it comes down to surrender. When we took a look at all the areas that either one of us have been successful, whether it was me bouncing back from a divorce or me having success playing volleyball, or even me having success climbing mountains and being out adventuring in the Sierras. Or we look at Whit, who's had success with her sobriety. She's 7 years sober as of 2 days ago. And then overcoming sort of a tough season with our blended family. When we first got married, my daughter was not a big fan of hers, and she was not a big fan of my daughter's for a little bit there. And there was definitely some attacks going on in this blended family, some difficult times that we were all able to rise above to where that's all in the past now. And we were able to overcome, but we had to surrender to it first. And then another one that Whit talks about is that she lost 40 pounds. She really was turning to sugar and food as a way to find comfort and joy in her life. And so she thought that giving that up, it would be, giving up all the joy, giving up all of her fulfillment in life, because it would be so unfulfilling to never be able to do that again. And so she had to kind of surrender that. And so we were just noticing all of this surrender all the way along, and just sort of giving things over to God, and noticing that what God likes to do is gift us. He kind of likes it when we get to the end of ourselves, and then we're finally like, okay, I'm at the end of myself. Where are you? And that's when he shows up and starts picking us up. So we were noticing that we both were ready to surrender our vision for Steadfast Life Coaching, for Trust You, for the whole thing. That the honest truth is that the dreams that we have are bigger than we can create. And so we just both felt the relief of just turning this over to God and saying, you know what? You do it. You build it, and we'll do our part. And then we were saying, well, what is our part then? What do we do? And that's when we started reading about the power of love is really where it came from. The importance of love and how important it is that we are loving people, and that when we look at being obedient to what Christ is asking us to do in this world, really what it is to love. And of course, anyone that reads scripture kind of ties that to the ideas of faith and hope. And so I was curious about that. I started looking into what is the difference between faith and hope, because they both kind of seem like the same thing. They both, to me, I'm thinking it's like this idea that things are going to go well in the future. But this is the clarity that I got. Not to say this is scripture, because it's not. I'm just saying that this is a framework that I tried on this morning that I want to offer to you. So the idea is this. You got faith, hope, and love. So faith is the belief that God's got my back. Faith is the belief that I don't need to be capable in order to create things in the future. That when I look at a future that's beyond my capability, I'm not trying to be more capable. I'm trying to be more faithful. That's the idea. I'm trying to believe that it is going to happen, that it is out there in the future. This is not just a hope, which we'll get to next. This is actually something that I think is going to happen. So that leads us directly into hope because the two are closely intertwined. And hope is the actual vision. And so what Whit and I do a lot is we're asking God for his vision. We are seeking the vision. We are prayerfully asking, what do you have for us? And then trusting that the vision we're getting is the vision that he's offering, rather than giving into this unfaithfulness, this doubt, this disbelief that it could possibly be. And so the hope is seeing this thing out here, and the faith is what gives us access to the real hope, because God tends to provide a vision that's beyond the vision that we think is possible. So God makes the impossible seem reasonable, right? So if I have that faith, then all of a sudden that kind of expands what I'm willing to dream about, the hope that I'm willing to pursue. And so now I can get in touch with this vision, I can get clarity on this vision, and I can really go back to my faith and believe, like I said, that even though this vision is outside my capability, rather than trying to increase my capability, what I want to do is increase my faith. And so then it comes to, okay, now how do I fight this urge to earn it? Because, if you're dreaming of a big business, which we do, a big business comes with big money. There's revenue involved in this. And so my brain tends to go to this place where I'm like, okay, God, I know this is your vision because I'm going to be generous with the money, because I know that I'm going to do good things with it, and I'm going to steward this money, and the money's, and I'm like trying to now earn it, right? So in my brain, I'm trying to build my faith by logically earning the blessings that I'm actually wanting to believe that God is gifting me because he's good, not because I'm good, because he's awesome, not because I'm awesome. I'm not creating this vision, I'm receiving this vision. And so when I get myself out of that, I'm like, okay, well then what do I do? If I'm not going to try to earn it, if I'm not going to try, look, God, I'm going to work hard so that I deserve it, and then you can bless me with it. I'm going to believe hard so you can bless me. If I get out of all that performance, then what I find is left is love. And that's when it clicked for me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the case, because I could parallel, if I put my business right here, like the actions that I believe are going to build this business, and then the law, right, from the Old Testament here, how I can behave to earn either success in my business, blocking myself out, or salvation if I'm looking at my faith. And so I'm saying I can work in my business, or I can abide the law. I can hold up to the law in order to earn fulfillment in business, or this fulfillment in my faith, salvation. But what God is saying is, no, this is my commandment. All this law, like this is good stuff, but that's not, you can't just do it. You're not going to be able to earn it. What you need is me. Surrender to me. Feel my love to you. Let that love flow out of you into others. And that's my commandment. The command that I give is this, that you love one another as I have loved you. That this love comes in, we let the love flow out. And that's really what we're needing to do. And so if we look at our faith, we could try to find all of the commands in the law and do our best to follow them and check the boxes and schedule it. But it makes more sense to love, because if I love, that's going to fuel those actions a little bit more naturally. Never perfect, of course, but it's going to fuel it more naturally. So the love is the access to acting the way I want to act, and the salvation is just given. And it's even confirmed in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. It goes through that whole list of you could prophesy, you could speak in tongues, you could help the poor, you could be faithful. But if you do it without love, you're doing nothing. It's all nothing. You have nothing. And so then I take that up to the next level. Okay, what does that mean for the business? What does that inspire in my business? Well, rather than trying to find my proper avatar and be discerning, do I give this away, or do I charge for this? Do I love this person or that person? Do I connect here? Do I connect there? Give me the magic combination, God, that will unlock the fulfillment that I'm seeking so I can have it. And he's like, no, love people. Like, you do this, Jake. You hope. You let me be your hope. You let the fact that I make the impossible seem reasonable build your hope. And then you trust me. You surrender it. Surrender it and trust me. Get out of your own ego and you're out of your own capability and out of your own ability to make this dream come true. And surrender. And what does surrender look like? Surrender looks like loving. Love people. So my job is to go out and love people. That's why I'm making this video right now, is because I was inspired to come love you by sharing this with you. And so it's not like, oh, I should make a workshop and charge everyone $25. No, I'm not unlocking a code. I'm simply being obedient. Obedient in the law? No, obedient in loving. And that's kind of where I landed. And that's really just what I want to offer you today. This is kind of a quick off the cuff podcast this week, but yeah, just feeling really inspired and loving the way it is. And I'd also love to hear what you think about that. If that stirs up anything in you, that we've just got this really simple recipe to achieve fulfillment inside of us. Now, I don't want this to be mistaken for thinking that exactly the way I think things are going to happen, they're going to happen. That if I just love people, God will like grant me wishes like a genie, because God's got a vision that's bigger than mine. But what I am going to have trust in, what I am going to have faith in, is that when the reality, when what happens in the future differs from what I thought was going to happen in the future, it's not because God is letting me down. It's because his vision is actually bigger than mine. It's because I wasn't seeing big enough and he's taking me to his vision. And so I surrender that path and I have faith in that journey. And in the meantime, I just love. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Ask Steadfast. Whit and I are super excited to use this avenue to sort of spread our message. And so it would mean a ton to us if you'd subscribe to this channel. Additionally, if you have any questions you'd like to see addressed in future episodes, whether serious or funny, we'd love to see those in the comments. So leave that in the comment below and we'll see you in the next one.